Hello students, welcome back. So in this next video, we're going to look at factorization by cross method. Now, it does have other names, but cross method is what we usually call it because when we try to use this method, we do something called the cross multiplication. Now, this type of factorization usually applies to quadratic expression, right? So I'm sure we have already talked about what quadratic expression are, but just very quickly, what are they, right? So over here, just to get us warm up, is some expression here. Which one is quadratic? Well, quadratic is where the order of the expression is actually 2. That means the highest power is actually 2. So this is quadratic, right? This is quadratic. This is quadratic. And the rest are not. So for this type of expression, we actually can apply the cross method. How does it work? You can read this on your own, sure, okay, but I'm just going to jump straight into the practice as a form of a demonstration to you. Now, you do need to practice this, right? Because the idea behind this cross method is that we are looking for combination. So for every number that appears, for example, the number 15 over here, right? We need to, in our mind, start to calculate, right? 15 is either 1 by 15 or 3 by 5. And we need to work out which of these combination can get us an 8. So 1 and 15 doesn't give us an 8, but 3 and 5 does. So we are going to choose 3 and 5. That's the idea behind it. So there's some mental processes that needs to go take place. And because there's a lot of it, it comes with a little bit of experience. So the more you practice, the better. So I'm going to leave these 7 examples for you to practice on your own. And I'm going to jump into the actual practice that's been highlighted over here. Okay, so in the first example, we want to factorize this scenario. The idea behind it is this. Let me first draw the rectangle, right? What's going on is I look at this and I say, okay, I'm going to factorize this. And this x squared plus 5x plus 6, I can actually place them within this rectangle because I'm trying to look at the area of the rectangle and say this corner here, I'm going to call it x squared, right? So this is x squared. Now at the bottom right, I'm going to take the 6 and I say this area here is 6 units, which means the 5x is going to be split up into the other two portions that has not yet been labeled. But by looking at this, I say that, okay, to get x squared, this length here has to be x, and this length here has to be x. Okay. Now, as for 6, there are 2 ways to get 6, right? It's either 1 by 6 or 2 by 3. So in this case, 1 and 6 and 2 and 3, both combination can get us a 5. So the idea is we need to think about the sign now, right? We want the positive 5 here. So if I have 6 and 1, it has to be 6 minus 1, right, to get the 5. But I see that my 6 here is actually positive. So if I have negative 1 and I have positive 6, it doesn't give me a positive 6. So I'm going to take 2 and 3. So what's going to happen on is that over here will be 2 units. Over here will be 3 units, right? So that means, okay, that means this portion here is 2x units. And this portion here is 3x units, right? Based on the length time breadth. So you can see here, the area of this rectangle is x squared plus 5x plus 6, which is exactly what the question is, right? And to get this area is actually length time breadth. So if I look at the length and breadth, this is x plus 2 and x plus 3. Therefore, the solution here is x plus 2, x plus 3. So this is sometimes called the rectangle mesh or the square mesh or matrix. There are lots of names, right? Different textbooks may offer different idea. So one of the easiest way to visualize the same process but written in the different way so that's easier to reconcile is called the cross method. So what cross method did was actually let's type the cross. That's why it's called the cross method. And then we are going to do the same idea. We're going to park the x squared over here. And then we're going to park the 6 over here. Let's put positive 6. Okay. So the idea behind is I'm going to find a combination that will give me the x squared. And in this case, it will be x by x. So x times x give me the x squared. And for 6, I also want to find the combination. So earlier, we already know that the combination is 2 and 3, but it could be 6 and 1 as well. So how do we know which combination? We need to look at the middle term that we have neglected so far. The middle term is 5x, so 5x. Now, it's important that we recognize that it's positive 5x because whether it's positive or negative makes a difference in our process. So what we have here is 5x. Now, that means if I were to choose a combination 2 and 3, right, and I'm going to cross multiply them. So I'm going to multiply them in this manner, okay, and I will actually obtain 2x over here and 3x over here, and I want to be positive. So I need to check, right? Positive 2x, positive 3x give me positive 5x. And then if this is positive, means that this is positive, this is positive. Again, we check. Positive 2 times positive 3 gives us 6. So by looking at this and observe, we will recognize that, hey, this portion here is this portion here. And this portion here is this portion here. Okay, so that's actually another way to visualize. And so which way you would like to visualize it, either using the rectangle or using the cross, I leave it to you. Okay, both is fine. Most students, based on experience, like to use the cross method because you can actually see the x plus 2 and x plus 3 very clearly and just apply it. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with using the rectangle because there is also quite a lot of students who visualize and understand how the factorization processes work with the rectangle. Okay, so of course, for those of you who are good at mathematics, or rather your foundation is strong enough, you feel comfortable with both, then just choose the one that you prefer, right? So, I mean, I'm a math teacher, so yes, I'm comfortable with both, so I can show you both methods, right? Eventually, I hope more of you is comfortable with both. Right? So here's another one, right? So let's start with the cross method. Why not? So in this case, let's use the cross method. So I'm going to have x squared here. I'm going to have positives here. But this time around, it's going to be a negative 5x over here, right? So again, looking for the combination, x and x give me x squared. I'm going to cross it. And in this case, I don't want to use 2 and 3, right? Because I have a negative 5x here. And the combo that I'm looking at is 1 and 6. Why? Because by using 1 and 6, I have a positive 1x, negative 6x, right? This will give me my negative 5x. So that means that this is actually negative 6, this is actually positive 1. And we check, positive 1 multiplied negative 6 give me, it doesn't work, right? So this is one of the issue why we need to practice this. And that's why earlier, in the earlier page, I told you those 7, I leave it to you to practice. In fact, you should, right, really source for more examples to practice. So you find that this combination doesn't work, right? So this combination cannot. So if that's the case, then we need to try another combination. Let's go back again. Okay, so if 1 minus 6 give me negative 5 doesn't work, what's the other combination that can give me negative 5? And yes, the other combination is negative 2x and negative 3x, which means that this will be negative 2 and this will be negative 3. And then we check, right? Negative 2 times negative 3, does it give us positive 6? It does. So perfectly, this one and this one, I just transfer them to my solution, x minus 2 multiplied by x minus 3. There we go. Okay, so that's what we can do over here, right? Now, more example? Of course, why not, right? So here's another example. This time round, we need to look at the, let's try the rectangle this time, why not, right? So use the rectangle. And then I'm going to have x squared over here, which means that this will be x by x. And then I'm going to have negative 6 here, right? So what is the combination that will give me a positive 5 now? Okay, so, well, let's try them out, right? So what if I have, let's say, 6, right? Positive 6, right? Because I want a lot of positive, so maybe positive 6. So if it's positive 6, then this has to be negative 1. Does it make sense? Positive 6 times negative 1 give me negative 6. Good. Which means that this portion here will be positive 6x. This portion here will be negative x. And positive 6x, negative 6x give me 5x. Hey, it works, right? So the combination will be here. as well as here, right? So from here, we can just write down x plus 6 multiplied by x minus 1. Okay, so it works. Okay, more example? Sure, why not, right? So here we have a situation where the coefficient of the x squared is actually negative, right? So it doesn't matter. We apply the same principles and it should work. So let's use a cross method here, right? This time round is negative x squared, and we have 51, and we have negative 14x. Take note, we need to make sure that our sign is correct, the positive and negative sign. So what's the combination that will give us the negative x squared? Well, it has to be x multiplied by negative x. That's the combination, right? And for 51, well, 51, what are the combination? 51, we can, let's see, divide by the, where's my calculator? Yeah, use a calculator, why not, right? So 51 can be divided by 3, but that should give me, I mean, I can do mental calculation, but if you are allowed to use calculator, why not use the calculator? So 51 and 17 is a combo, right? So 51 and 17, that means let's have 17 here. And we have 3. Let's see if this works, because it might not work. We need to actually reverse the process, right? Get ready to reverse the process. But in this case, I think it will work, right? I will have negative 17x over here, and then we will have positive 3x over here, right? So this is negative. No, this is positive, right? Because the negative is with the x. So it's positive here and positive here. So check everything's in order, right? Negative 17 plus 3 give me negative 14. Then we have 17 and positive, 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 all good, right? So everything's in order. We can write down a combination now. This will be x plus 17. And over here, right, we can write down negative x plus 3, or we can write down 3 minus x. They mean the same thing. It's fine. Okay, this is good. Right? Okay, moving on. What happens if in front of the x squared there's a coefficient of 3? Right? So, same idea. Well, let's use the rectangle this time now. Why not? Right? Why not? I mean, I'm just demonstrating both. Feel free to choose one and be a master of it for now until you are very proficient. And, well, and eventually I hope you're comfortable with both, because if you understand how this thing works, either way of thinking through this factorization process is acceptable. So we have 3x by x to give us 3x squared. And on this side we have negative 8. So which combo give me negative 8? Well, eventually I want to have positive 10x. So negative 2, negative 4, does it work? Well, here we have a challenge, right? Because it's 3x. So placing them in the right place actually matters. And that's where the limitation comes, because sometimes it's quite difficult to visualize this, right? We have 3 times 3 times 2 give me 6. Then we have 4 and 6. Oh yeah, it works, right? So 3, this one is 2. So if this is the case, this will give me 6x, right? And then 2, and then down here will be 4. So this will give me 4x. And since I want negative, this will be negative, this will be negative. But wait a minute, it doesn't work, right? It doesn't work, because what happened is the sign all messed up, right? Because I shouldn't be negative here. I want a positive 10x. So you see the limitation here. The challenge is sometimes getting the right combination is pretty challenging. Okay, which is one of the reasons why I do understand earlier I mentioned a lot of students prefer the cross method, because not because it is easier or more difficult in terms of the concept, but because it involves less lines and you use an eraser and you do this on a pencil, it's a bit quicker. But of course I'm doing it on an iPad, so it's fine. So the combination we tried just now doesn't work. What happens if we were to flip them? So let's say I put this time round I put a 4 here and I put a 2 here. Is it better? So this time round, let's see, we have 12x over here, and over here we have 2x. Okay, so to get negative 8, one of it must be negative. So I will want this to be positive, I want this to be negative, this will be negative, and that should work, right? That should work. Okay. So just to help those who are into the cross method to visualize what's going on, let me also do the cross method over here. 3x squared, negative 8 here, positive 10x. So what's happening is, for this, the combination is 3x by x, right? And then we are trying to find a combination that will give us 10x on the right side. So over here, we will say, okay, let's say we have 3 times 4. 3 times 4 gives us 12. So x. Over here, we have 2. So we have 2x, right? So I want this to be positive. I want this to be negative. This will be negative. This will be positive. And then if you look at it from the column point of view, negative 2 times positive 4 give me negative 8. This combo is good, right? So that's how we end up with the combination 3x minus 2 and x plus 4, right? So that's how it works. Both methods show it to you. Okay, choose the one that you feel more comfortable with, right? Right, another example. Let's go. Right, in this example, again, let's just use the cross method this time around. Okay. So we have 2x and x to give me the combination of 2x squared. On this side, I have negative 15, and on the right side, negative 7x. This is what I want. Okay, again, cross it. So which combination do I use? Well, we have 15, so 15 can be 3 by 5. If I put 3 and 5, if I put 3 here, 5 here, I will get 10. Let me write it properly, right? So just test it out. 3 here, 5 here, I will get 10x here, I will get 3x here. Then in this case, this will be negative, this will be positive, so that I get negative 7x. Means this is positive, this is negative. Look at it vertically. Positive 3 times negative 5 give me negative. Oh, it's great. First attempt and we are successful. Why not? Okay, sometimes we need such luck, right? So we have this and we have this. There we go. So with more practice, I hope you get more and more comfortable. Last example, last two actually. Last two example. Yeah, last two example. Last two example is hexary. Hexary means maybe the steps are a little bit longer, but actually not so, right? This is actually quite straightforward. I can see I mean, with experience, I can see straight away that it's going to be 5x minus y and the whole thing squared. But that takes a little bit of experience. If you don't have the experience, it takes you a bit longer. So what happened is over here, we have 25x squared. 25x squared means the combo is 5x by 5x. It could be 25 by 1, but I mean, it's not 25 by 1, right? So we have y and y, okay, to get y squared over here. So this gives us 5xy, 5xy, and then we have 10xy. Since we want this to be negative, so all these are negatives. That gives us 5x minus y times 5x minus y, which results in 5x minus y squared. See? So this comes with a bit of experience, but I'm able to see it straight away, right? Now this one, another scenario, okay? Again, this time round the combinations is quite a lot, right? There is a 6 there, there is a 15 there. So you may need to test a few times before you get the right combination. So
Master, Siri has sufficient power now. You may unplug me from the charger. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Siri. Okay. So yes, my Siri is working hard, reminding me to not overcharge my devices. Right, let's work this one out. Right, so we have negative 6x squared. Okay, that's and we have negative 15 here, and we want to have 23x here. So now, why is this hexary? Because hexary means the question could be a bit more complicated because there's so many combination over here. Okay, so I mean let's try, right? So maybe we start with 2 and 3. Why not? But you see, even when I choose 2 and 3, I need to choose one of them to be negative, right? And then we have 15. 15 is maybe 5 and 3. Okay, this is just trying it out, see if it works, right? So just to see if the combination works, over here I will get 15, then over here I'll get 6, and 15 and 6 doesn't give me 23, so this combination is no good. So we take it back and we try another combination now. How about 3 here and 5 here? That will give us 9 here, and that will give us 10 here. Again, this combination is no good, right? So we take it back. So what else can we try? Well, how about 15 and 1? So you try 15 here and 1 here. This will give us 45. This will give us 2. No good. So we take it back again. So you can see here, sometimes we need to try many combinations because it's possible to have this kind of scenario. How about 1 and 15? In this case, we have 30 here and we have 3 here. No good, right? So what does this tell us? This tells us that the problem is not with the 15. The problem is the 6x here shouldn't be a 6x, right? It shouldn't be 2 and 3. It should be maybe just 6 x, and just x. One of it will be negative. We'll figure out which one later, right? So let's try the combination now. So let's try 3 and 5 again. Why not, right? So this will give us 3 and 11. Again, not a good combination. We roll it back. So you can see the process can take quite a while, right? So we have 5x here. This will give us 18. This might work. This might work, right? This might work. Okay, so of course, just because it looks like it might work doesn't mean that this is the right combination. We need to check that the sign, positive and negative, match up, right? So in this case, we know that this, we want both to be positive, right? If we want both to be positive, then over here, we want them both to be positive as well, right? But I can't be both positive, right? Because one of the 6x and x have to be negative. Okay, so I could just assign this to be negative, and that means that this should be negative, right? And does it work? Hey, it actually works, right? So once it works, we can write it down. So we will have 6x minus 5 followed by 3 minus x, and that's our combo. So it does take a while, okay, so this type of question, hopefully not too many come out for your formal assessment. But yes, practice and experience helps to speed up the entire process. All right, of course, there's another way to do it, but that's a lesson for another day. So I'll end the part 3 here, and we will finish up the part 4 in the next video. Have a nice day.